What you listening to, son?
I need to put more shit up there. What the fuck am I doing?
Same. I need to put more sim racing stuff on my YouTube.
The thing is, like, so
almost all politics and no
like
sim racing.
I'm multi-stream, and I had this realization the other day because I was like, why isn't my YouTube popping? Like, all my VODs are on there, and I realized about myself, like, I don't care if it's like a 3-hour-long YouTube essay. I will watch that a million years before I watch a VOD. You know what I mean? Like, nobody watches VODs. So
it's Pog Prog.
Hey, motherfucking Prague. Hello.
Big Pog.
We just got done talking to Lourin.
Yeah, thanks for having him on.
Yeah, well, I mean, thank you for helping set that shit up, man.
Yeah, thanks for getting us connected with him. That was great to talk to him, and I'm sure he's busy as hell, so I'm glad he could find the time to do it.
Yeah.
Who here is it their first time meeting him?
Well, he has.
Would that not be Endless and Beer Bash?
He asked who was the who here was at their first time meeting him.
Oh, that was my first time
I've ever talked to him.
Yeah,
because like me and Prague, you and I, maybe Mayor too. We were on the same Twitter space with Lourin and.
Times.
Yeah.
I did see those.
So
I saw those, but like I'm such a boomer. I barely know how to use Discord. I don't really like Twitter that much, except for when I'm trying to, cook people and like, tweet some spicy stuff.
Hell yeah.
Twitter Spaces are usually cancer, so it's probably good.
I'm gonna go pee real quick. I'll be right back, guys.
Well, their spaces are usually pretty cool. It's actually where I met
true.
them. But
just I don't really use Twitter for that at all.
Yeah, same. I use it just to argue with people. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh yeah.
I mostly use it to shit post, and I hate arguing with people on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not like super into the debate bro stuff, so I vibe with that.
That's So I'm like, the way that I present my Twitch, like my stream content, I have very specific visions and goal for it. So I don't do any debate bro stuff on here, and I don't even really entertain a lot of the people who want to do that. But like, I'm still an asshole, so I'll go on Twitter and argue with people all day. It's hilarious to me.
Yeah, I'm
not opposed to having like an idiot, like a chud who can at least conduct themselves on a voice call properly, call into my channel, but
that's
don't really actively try to go on channels that often anymore.
Yeah, that's how independent
that often anymore.
Yeah, Independent Thoughts panels are like that. I don't know if you guys have seen Independent Thought, but Desmond's panels are the two that I've been on were really cool with the people that he handpicks, the conservatives. It's not like these are people that have actually given some consideration to the things that they believe, and they're not just like memeing. And it's not like CTV or something like that. You know what I mean? It's actual like conservatives who have drank the Kool-Aid, so to say. They're not just like dumb.
I don't know if that makes it worse though. Like, if you genuinely considered like all the ramifications of your beliefs and still come out conservatives.
It's cool in a sense that I feel like the reason why they believe those things, like in the last panel, we were talking about energy production, and the guy, the conservative, was just like, so, because we were talking about solar punk vibes. We want trains, we want buses. And he was like, so what, the single mother of four, nice code orange shirt, the single mother of four is just supposed to fucking take all of her groceries on the bus? And we just kind of all looked at each other like, we have all done that before, friend. Like, he's like, there's sidewalks all over the country. And someone from my chat who grew up the same neighborhood I grew up in was like, fam, we had to walk a half a mile to see a sidewalk. Like, you were walking on the street that whole T. There's areas you couldn't even walk because you would get blasted by a semi if you even dared. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's cool in a sense that the people that we talk to on there, like I said, they've drank the Kool-Aid and they've given it some consideration, but I feel like it's just their lack of exposure to people, to like marginalized people or leftists or so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Because the issue with this is that the dumbest people are always the loudest, and that's true of both the left and the right. So like the most popular streamers, like it's always going to be fucking like, right.
He's not that popular, but I don't understand. That dude's like verified on Twitter and has some podcasts, but his streams aren't that big. Oh, and what's the worst part is I remember when I first watched that guy, his like takes about Canadian domestic policy are actually pretty based, but then you start getting it, but then just ask him about foreign politics and he just starts giving you the like China and North Korea are fucking amazing, actually, brain rot.
Wait, well, what? I used to watch that guy's streams. I never heard.
Yeah, Rob Rousseau's got like is like based as fucking to listen to about like Canadian internal politics, but then he like has like the worst brain rot when it comes to foreign policy. It's really bad.
The only time I ever talk about that shit,
you gotta drop the fucking LARP, man.
Yeah, the only time I ever talk about that shit is when I'm trying to destroy a person's preconceived notions, because just the word socialism is like a dirty word in America. So when I say shit like, yeah, actually Rosa Parks is a communist, or she was a communist. Angela Davis, still a card-carrying communist.
Yeah.
Fucking the Black Panthers were posted up with Mao. You know what I mean? Mao supported the Panthers. Like, there's I feel like there's a difference between that and me just saying that just so that people understand the time that the people who, like, what time those people are on, and then making that leap to be like in 2022, like, yeah, North fucking Korea is like the ideal model for socialism in around the globe. Like, it's wild. Yeah, Frackle was on that panel. He said, I'm still kicking myself over that conversation. I meant to bring up how a car-centric world with no adequate public transportation is also very harmful to folks living with disabilities. That's true too.
Yeah, it is
true.
Like,
there's people who literally cannot drive.
Yeah. Not all people can learn how to drive adaptive cars, and even if they can, adaptive cars are expensive as shit.
But even so, it's like, how does a blind person gonna drive? You know what I mean? How is a deaf person gonna drive? Like,
right? It
just doesn't make any sense.
I think deaf people often do drive, actually, but
that's scary as hell.
Yeah, I've wondered how that works, because how well that works,
especially
out,
since I like want to buy a motorcycle. That shit's
the thought of wanting to, the thought of like driving and not being able to hear the shit and not being able to hear anything is like terrifying to me. Like, especially I'll like won't listen to music if it's raining or snowing really hard, because it's like I need to hear how my wheels are gripping the road,
right,
as well as like feel it through the steering wheel. So I know that like people have done it though. Like I know that people do it though, and I'm sure there's not like an extra high rate of accidents among them or anything. Like I remember when I was an Uber driver, it like gave me the option to, it let me like tell Uber if I was hard of hearing, I could have the screen flash on and off instead of give an audible alert when I had a ride.
Yeah.
Wow. Of course, I am a hearing person, so I am a hearing person. I am not part of the deaf community, so I didn't do that. But
we don't even have that option, I don't think.
There's like some parts that, especially like Martha's. So like a big basis though of American Sign Language is a big part of the development of that is from what used to be a thing called Martha's Vineyard Sign Language, and that was spoken on Martha's Vineyard, which is an island off the southern coast of Massachusetts. And Martha's Vineyard had like some families in it that had like a genetic trait that caused deafness, so there was a much higher portion of deaf people in the population in Martha's Vineyard, and I think there still might be compared to like most of the country.
I didn't know that about, like, not to be, it might be a gross comparison, but like I knew that. I didn't know that about Dalmatians. I just remember being like obsessed with Dalmatians as a kid, and a friend of mine had like 3 of them, and 2 of them were deaf, and I was like, fuck, you know, like, yeah, because they were like fire department dogs. They had to be able to chill around like all the actual house fires and the sirens and shit. So a lot of Dalmatians are actually deaf. Like they have a genetic trait.
Yeah, they have a genetic deafness problem.
So, quick question. And I thought about this when I went to go pee earlier. And was there? So that was good. I really enjoyed that. And there was a lot of shit that like made all of us go based. You know,
I'm really glad we got to talk to Lourin. That was really awesome.
That was sick.
Was there anything that we kind of not reeled at, but like disliked a little bit or anything like that? Because the only
I was dislike.
I was gonna say
I wouldn't even say dislike either, but there's like lack for a better term, you know.
I'll say this because we've had 2 like congressional candidates on the last 2 independent thought panels we did, which is that when you're literally running for office in the United States of America, you have to move, if not within the Overton window, within a very, very close margin of it.
Yeah.
So like him as a person and his personal views and stuff may or may not, I'm not going to say I'm sure.
Could be hiding his power level.
He could very well be hiding his power level.
I was about to say that too, yeah.
I got that vibe.
Because actually,
a lot of people hide their power levels because of like the Overton.
You can't get elected if you come out and be like, "Yeah, I'm a communist."
Say like, I'm like full Marxist.
Because like,
there's like a certain.
Because like,
and there's a certain degree to which, like, I'm sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, first off, we were sharing our questions in the little group chat I made for us preparing for this, and Marxist, yay or nay? And
I did want to ask, but then listening to him talk,
he was
going
to say no to it if we
brought
that.
But not only that,
and
I kind of thought about it too. Actually, Eel, you brought it up in the chat while we were talking, saying something along the lines of, "I wonder if his opponents could be watching this for sound bites."
Exactly.
And I mean, and I thought about it, and I was like, well, I mean, there's only like 8 people watching right now, but you never know.
When we did that,
that AOC and Ilhan Omar exist, and like, they just want that soundbite that they could take.
Oh yeah,
that's
clip chin. It's Twitch politics vibes. Like when we were on that panel.
I mean, because he's from California, and I'm from a part of Arizona that knows that meets right on the California border, and like, I had a question regarding like, what would be, because 750K, his district, it completely dwarfs everything on that area of Arizona I live. Like, what would be an equitable distribution of water between the San Joaquin Valley, where he is, because I lived in an indigenous community, the Colorado River Indian tribes. It's like 4 distinct tribes that live on that area. Like, how is he going to solve that from his district and San Fernando Valley? Like, they were facing it, that whole region where I'm from. They're going to be facing a water crisis within now. It's going to get really bad in the foreseeable future. So I was just curious about that. It's going to get really bad because consumption of water in the southern portion of California, it's not sustainable.
Yeah,
that's a problem with like just the existence of state lines and like having to like necessarily cordon off sections of land the way that we do in North America, like to the point where like resources in one concentration like necessarily take away
not just
from
in America either. In Europe, like America, Germany is a very
that's true. Yeah.
In Germany is a very federalized structure, and then on paper, Russia is actually supposed to be a very federal system. In practice, that is total bullshit.
I was about to say, on paper,
been a it has not really been a. What's weird is that in Russia, and say like in the United States, we have like 50 states that are all generally like Yeah, there's a few of them that call themselves commonwealths instead of states, but there's no like political actual political distinction.
Right.
In Russia, there's like a few different types of entities within the Federation that like are actually like legally distinct. Like the most of the there's like 85 federal subjects when you include like the Republic of Crimea, and which is Russian annexed Crimea, and then the largest city in Crimea, Sevastopol, is Russia's third federal city after Moscow and St. Petersburg.
Wow.
And then, so yeah, Moscow and St. Petersburg and Sevastopol are all federal cities. Then there's 40 something oblasts, and oblasts are generally places that are predominantly places that are populated by like places that like ethnic Russians are originally from, or like colonized when you get to oblasts that are further east, like on the other, like past the Ural Mountain, like in and past the Ural Mountains and whatnot.
So
then
I was
there's
just about to say, I'm hungry. I'm about to go to McDonald's and get some more dabs to smoke on while we sit here. Entertain my chat, please. I'll be back in 15 minutes.
Yeah, man. We got you.
Okay,
We got you.
whatever.
Everybody come to the MediaTown chat. No, kidding.
Do it.
There's the
Oh man.
then there's like 20 something republics, and that's what Russia administers annexed Crimea outside of the city of Sevastopol as, is a republic. And the republics those are like the homelands of various ethnic minorities.
Yeah.
Although some of them now, as a result of like Russian colonialism over time, have like more Russians than people who are native to the region. But like for example, Crimean Tatars are a small minority of Crimea, and they're like the most recent indigenous group to that region. The other one was like Crimean Goths, and they have not existed for several hundred years. And they were like an Eastern Germanic tribe.
Well, like the Visigoths?
Yeah, they were like the last descendants of the not the Visigoths. They were the last descendants of the Ostrogoths.
Oh, okay.
They were the last descendants of the Crimean Goths were the last descendants of the Eastern Goths. But,
you know, speaking of which, I actually I talked about it a little bit on Twitter. I think you might have liked it, but I'm gonna be trying to buy a passport at some point this year and try to go like on like a pilgrimage. You know what I mean?
Oh damn!
Where?
Yeah, where are you going?
A couple.
So I can.
A couple of places I was having in mind was something like maybe stop by Ireland, maybe Scotland, Scandinavia, Normandy, or not.
Try to learn how to speak Irish and go to the parts of Ireland where people speak Irish as a native language.
No,
I'll go to Cork. I'll say hello. How are you doing?
No, he means like actual language.
Oh, like Gaelic.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, they call
man.
it Irish. It's called Irish in English, even though the name in Irish sounds more like the word Gaelic. But it's weird. Like, people in Ireland only like call the native language when they refer to it in English Irish. And then the term Gaelic usually refers to Scottish Gaelic, which is similar but distinct.
Yeah, and, but Nomad was talking about like the water for his tribe and stuff. I do think that's like an interesting thing to think about, where Lourin is trying to do good for like his district,
yeah,
but that would necessarily affect Nomad's people, which that is because what I was talking about before with the whole drawing of maps and like the way that we separate like land and people is like fundamentally flawed, and that's what creates that problem. So I don't know how Lourin could solve it. I don't think that's something that Lourin could solve.
Like water rights, they've been debating this for like 50 to 80 plus years between California, Colorado, and Arizona. It's a long-standing thing. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, I don't know that's something that Lourin can necessarily solve. Like,
yeah, I mean, he could definitely probably advocate for it, which I'm sure he would. It actually kind of harkens me to something I was listening to earlier while I was taking a shower. I was listening to Vosh is on a debate was in a debate with somebody on the Political Compass Discord server.
Gag.
And there were a couple different topics. It was like they were talking land back, they were talking multiculturalism and stuff like that, and reservations were brought up in the middle of the conversation, where basically what should we do about them, basically, and how, like, you know, this was their land, you know, they should, you know, get land back, but, you know, like, there are variables potentially attached to that they had to discuss and sift through, I guess, which kind of which the water thing kind of will remind me of.
Fill that land, though. I mean, when
I mean, the conditions of these reservations are fucking horrendous.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
It's fucking inexcusable.
I've lived there all my life. It's really bad.
Yeah, I've been doing. There's a Discord that I'm a part of that does readings of different like communist texts, and one of them is specifically about the treatment and the history of indigenous people. And it's one of the. I made this realization that is simultaneously the most obvious thing you could ever realize, and something that most people never even stop to consider. But it's the idea that slavery and the indigenous genocide was happening at the exact same time, and a lot of people don't ever make that connection, because in school we learn it as like separate things, as separate entities happening, like as these like two disparate things way off in the past. But no, they were at the exact same time.
Yeah,
and it was like incredibly brutal. And
yeah.
The expansion of Europe into North America would go from the Vikings going towards the northern part of the country. I don't believe that the Atlantic slave trade came till afterwards, until Columbus had reached the Caribbean.
Oh no! I'm specifically referring to America. It's like white Americans, like.
Oh, okay.
Like
right,
I'm not talking about like from the like pre-turn of the millennium kind of thing. I'm talking in the 1800s, like chattel slavery happening like simultaneously, like the Trail of Tears kind of thing.
I mean,
yeah.
Like, no, I mean, we were fucking.
And even prior, like in the.
Nothing at that point. We were. I mean, there's estimates of the native population that we will never know exactly, but being anywhere from 20 to 50 million people. At that point, we were just like native peoples were destroyed. I mean, there was no population base at that point. So I don't know. That's just things up.
Yeah, and even in all sorts of parts of the Americas outside of the United States, also like in the Caribbean, like
yep,
there's multiple places where there's multiple places. Yeah, like don't Tainos basically like not exist?
Yeah,
anymore?
they're the reason why Africans were brought to, like, I can only speak for Jamaica, but the reason why Africans were brought there in the first place was because the indigenous people there were wiped from existence.
I think that's the case in Hispaniola too, Haiti and the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, I don't know their specific history, so I don't want to speak on them. I grew up in Jamaica, so I can speak on Jamaica history specifically.
Were the Taino the people that lived in Jamaica?
Yeah, they didn't travel between islands, so they weren't landlocked in Jamaica.
Multiple islands. Yeah. I know they lived on multiple islands. I just forgot if Jamaica was one of them.
Jamaica was one of them.
I think they were one of the larger groups that lived on Hispaniola as well.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those things where. It's you never really, no one tells it to you, but it's one of those things that it's obvious in hindsight where, oh my god, like this was happening all at once, and the brutality of like recognizing that is kind of almost like Lovecraftian proportions. It's kind of horrific.
You know,
you kind of have to wrap your mind around that.
So there was actually something that's been on my mind. Speaking of like things like, you know, reservations, tribes, land back, and all that, that that's been kind of on my mind the past few weeks. And now that we're in this setting, I kind of want to get Cemetary's fucking take on it too, but...
Well, you can ask his chair.
We can ask his chair. I don't know how... Honestly, Mayor, I don't know how you specifically would feel on this topic. Maybe because like being a Christian, and I kind of want to see what your take is on it too. Like, so a long time ago, there was things like the Spanish Inquisition and the Holy Crusades and things like that end up like, if not displacing, enslaving and murdering a lot of fucking pagan people, you know, temples getting destroyed and churches getting built on top and whatnot. And I kind of thought about it, and it's like, it's not the same thing as the indigenous people, and it's nowhere near the same thing as reparations for black people because of slavery. But what do we think, are pagan people entitled to a land back?
Wow, that is incredibly complex. I would say that
it's
probably
a very different situation because often it's like, especially in cases in like Europe, it was sort of people converted by their own it was converted by like people of their own ethnicities, or who were then often converted from
or coerced into conversion.
Yeah, convert it. Yeah, that's what I meant by converting, is usually forced conversion in the Middle Ages. But
they're still looked down upon, but there isn't that. There's no racialized element.
Yeah, I don't think you don't really because
but you could kind of
is playing out in like Europe, in like places in like, especially in like Scandinavia and like Celtic Europe, like I don't think you really have quite as much the same type of like, you don't have like people who have like started practicing like their ethnic groups, like pre-Christian religion. They don't really have as much of them.
It is coming back though, surprisingly.
Yeah, it's coming back. They just aren't really advocating. They advocate for like to promote themselves within their society, since that's the like previous thing of the society that they're part of, rather than say like these were like once sovereign nations like sovereign peoples that were then like brutally subjugated by outside forces in the manner in which it happened here, where land back movements happened in the Americas.
Yeah,
right.
Which is where I'm kind of
that's where kind of like, that's why I had to think about it, you know, because like I do feel like some form of reparations is specifically from like the Catholic Church, for instance.
That's one thing I want to comment
Church
on.
Owes so much reparations to Ireland and so many other countries.
Everyone back who they fucked over through the centuries.
That is one thing that I want to comment on. One, like, I as a Christian oppose Catholicism in all its entirety. I don't like.
Are you part of any like denomination specific?
No, I'm non-denominational.
Okay.
So I am very strongly anti-Catholic. I think Catholicism is a pox on the planet. So coming to me and asking me my opinion on like the Inquisition and like the Crusades, I am anti all of that, because Jesus would be anti all of that.
Right.
So like that, like murdering people and forcing them to convert is very explicitly anti-Christian. That's like it's literally there. It's written in black and white. Like forced conversion is not something that we should practice.
Right.
Like
yeah.
So that like coming to me, you can ask me, sure, but like you're never gonna hear me say like, oh yeah, no, that was completely the correct thing to do.
Well, so no. I don't want you to take it like any sort of the only reason why like I you know, I don't want to say single you out like that because I didn't mean to do that, but like, it's just okay. I'll just say this: like, I've met more than a few Christians who would claim the same thing. You know what I mean? And when you're a few questions deep, it's virtually synonymous, you know, and it's just like, well, you may as well have just said that you're for it, you know what I mean? But so
I believe that those people deserve recompense, reconstruction, but I can't compare it to chattel slavery and indigenous genocide.
Right.
Yeah.
No, yeah. It's not the same thing whatsoever.
They definitely deserve, because like with a religion, you can practice it anywhere. You don't need a specific land mass. To like there's no like societal.
Well, not necessarily in places.
In that same way.
Not necessarily in places like Saudi Arabia, for instance, where like they still have like, oh, you've been accused of sorcery. Let's chop your hands off or something, you know?
Oh,
like
hello, Freckle. Welcome.
Like, there's still shit like that that's very much existent.
Person in my chat added a little tidbit. Low Crash says, my family was in the Knights Templar and they did awful things and the French kings fucked them over too.
Speaking of the Knights Templar, like, I mean, like, we just a like a little fun little historical tidbit. Like,
you guys done to entertain my chat while I like go take a quick break because I've been sitting down here for almost 3 hours and I like to try to stretch every now and then.
Yeah, no problem.
We are going to be entertaining 2 chats.
Thank you, Freckle, for unsettling truths, the ongoing dehumanizing legacy of the doctrine of discovery, which is a text meant to understand the Navajo. Is it just that the author is a Navajo, or this is like the Navajo perspective?
Was this in your chat? I'm half Navajo.
I have somebody from EndlessCemetary's chat, Freckle. The author is Navajo, okay, but it's just so this is a broader indigenous perspective, but from the point of view of a Navajo author.
By the way, thank you, Mike Gears and Low Crash for following. Really appreciate it.
Dehumanizing legacy of the doctrine of discovery. So yeah, thank you. I will add that to my list right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I kind of thought about it too, and was and like I don't know how efficient it would be. I mean, it was just kind of like a fleeting thought, I guess. But I thought, like, what if, as like a call for an international scale of civil and human rights, right? Any sort of religious body that doesn't belong to the I guess Abrahamic hegemon gets basically their own city in every nation that has historical precedence, like they had presence in the past. You know what I mean?
Oh, thank you for following, Freckle. I appreciate that. Yeah, sorry, say that again. So yeah, you building a city for specifically non-Abrahamic religions within each country.
Yeah, where they had presence before, like things like the Roman Catholic Empire having prominence, as kind of like, hey man, listen, we fucked you over pretty bad. Have a city.
I wouldn't even say you need to build a city. I think you can just withdraw, like, the Catholic Church from that region. People who still want to believe in Catholicism, they will maintain that, and then the other religions can.
That doesn't sound ethno-nat, does it?
I mean,
does it?
I mean, it's not ethno-nationalist, but it is kind of segregation talk a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't gonna say anything. I was just gonna say, you know, you don't need to necessarily build a separate city.
So no, like it's fine because like
I'm for integration.
Right.
Yeah. I'd rather bring those religions back to prominence and like pull the Catholic representation back, like not even necessarily pull them out completely, because there are people that probably worship
that want a
that
place
way.
too. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just
I would incentivize the other religions to build and like expand their own reach, because I'm not super I'm not, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's something akin to like isolationism, like religious isolationism. I don't believe in that. I care about like Islam, I care about Judaism, and I care about Hinduism. Like, there are a lot of people around me that worship in those ways, and I want those people to have representation. I want those people to have like a space that they can feel comfortable and safe in, just like with any other kind of
demographic.
Demographic. Sure, I was gonna say identifying signifier, but yeah, demographic is faster.
Like, regarding Catholicism, like a lot of indigenous and African cultures have mixed that into their own system of beliefs. That's why you have voodoo. That's why you have Santeria.
Right.
And like all of these different cultures. Like,
thank you for following Bink Princess.
Like, there's no real way you could root that out without upending those systems of belief as a whole, in a way.
Right.
Because those. I mean, when the colonists came and forced Catholicism on indigenous and African and indigenous people, because at that point they were mixed.
Right.
That's why you have real culture. I mean, like, you can't really take that without like, forcing some existential type of like.
Well gone.
On those cultures. So I'm curious how you would do that in a way, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think you can or should. I think just allowing more diversity is better, and then just let people do themselves.
Right. Which is why, like, if there were ever a President Greyecraft, you know, just,
yes, sell us on. Let's vote for President Grey.
One of my policies would be, if religion is so important to people, you know,
Princess,
then, you know, we shouldn't have this culture any longer of, like, basically, yeah, sure, we have separation of church and state, even though it's fucking rotting away.
Yeah, that doesn't exist.
And sure, we have, you know, First Amendment, free expression of religion, even though, like, literally the 9 out of 10 calls for religious freedom are always by the extremist fundamentalists, you know, and really it's just like, freedom for me, not for thee. I would say all religions should have their own course in schools, you know, and like those courses should be optional. So like if you want to learn about the Quran, there will be an Islam class. If you want to learn about the old pagan ways, there's a pagan class. If you want to learn more about Kabbalah or the Torah, there is a Jewish class. You know what I mean? Like just if you're interested in different theologies, there should be courses on all of them. But it seems like there's only private schools that teach fucking Catholicism and Protestantism and shit. And it's just like
and they teach you to brainwash you into it.
Yeah. And it's Canada, like we're not a Christian nation, and no nation should be a single fucking like we're supposed to be a secular society. And so if we're not going to remove religion from governance or politics or any element of the system itself, then we need to incorporate all of them.
What do you think about this for a like proposition for our government when it comes to religion and politics?
Yeah, Frackle is actually asking something similar in my chat. He's saying, but does the state get to decide which religions have legitimacy and deserve a class in schools? I was going to say, in Canada, we get a distilled version of what Greyecraft is saying, where we learned in high school, grade 10 and 11 religion class, we learned all the major world religions. Like, it was a very stripped back, pared down bullshit version, because at least from the Christian perspective, like the stuff that we learned in regards to Christianity was like almost not, it was mostly non-biblical nonsense. It was just very like platitudes and like basic, be nice to everybody. And then you learn that, oh, Allah just means God. Like it's not a different name for a different god. It just means God.
Yeah.
And I think like having separate courses is fine, as long as who is teaching them is actually versed in the. I would love like a indigenous religions class. Like I would love for indigenous religions to make a comeback. That's one of the big things that I like fight for, is just indigenous. Like even in Northern Ontario, the indigenous water is absolute garbage. Like their language and culture is more or less dead, and there are some people on the ground trying to start schools to revive it. And I would love nothing more than to be able to fund that. Yeah. Because that shit needs to come back. Yeah.
In upstate New York is mostly
how do you just QAnon?
Upstate New York Upstate New York is mostly the what used to be the land of the Iroquois Confederacy.
Oh yeah, it stretched all the way up to Ontario in Canada too. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Mohawk that live in Ontario now, especially. But yeah, like of all of the languages of the Iroquois Confederacy, the only one that has more than 1,000 native speakers is Mohawk. And even then, it's only like a few thousand. Yeah. And the rest of them have anywhere from like less than 100 to the other 4 or the other 5 of the Confederacy. It was 6 nations. It was originally 5, and then the Tuscarora were driven up here from their home further south, and were admitted to the Confederacy later on. But yeah, the other languages are all very hanging in the balance, like between like 1 and 500 speakers. So
yep, the Anishinaabeg language is like in the double digits.
And kind of like Lourin was saying earlier, we're more like a salad instead of a melting pot, which I really like that. I wanted to say, can we toss it so bad, but but like, you know, like the salad has different ingredients that make it a salad, right? You know, and like if that's gonna be the case, you know,
no corn. Just throw it Ohio, no corn.
Well, fuck you.
Sorry, Gray.
All right, man. Without corn, you don't have fucking popcorn. All right, I don't want to fucking hear it.
It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Oh, okay. Enjoy those movies without your fucking popcorn, then.
I like popcorn, but I don't like corn. It's a very weird relationship I have with that.
It sounds like you're wrong.
I found an image of the garbage plate. I'll send it to the memes channel.
Oh yeah.
An image that I can send to Discord, that is, because it wasn't too big.
All right, hang on a second.
I love Fractal's questions. Like, how do you address QAnon demanding to be taught as a religion? You don't.
Yeah, it looks like that one is like a couple of cheeseburgers with the meaty sauce, fries, home fries,
holy
mac salad.
Wow.
Oh, this is a good comment. Sorry, go on.
That's the original place that owns the trademark to the name Garbage Plate, Nick Tahoe Hots. And
jeez, that looks good as fuck, dude.
And it's in Rochester, New York, the 3rd largest, or now it's legally the 4th largest city in New York. In the 2020 census, it was revealed that Yonkers has more people living in it by an ever so small margin.
Hi, Acefire, how you doing? Oh, can I just read Fractal's comment real quick? Hold on, let me read chat reader real quick. Okay, so in my opinion, the pursuit of spiritual growth has less to do with putting classes in school and more to do with creating an environment where people within society have both the free time available and home security to feel that they can pursue spiritual growth at their leisure. 100% agreed.
Yeah.
That is 100%. Because
which, like,
I had learned. Oh, sorry, go.
I was gonna say, like, that also has, like, I mean, really everything does, but that definitely has an acute relationship with our current relationship with capitalism. You know, like maybe if like we got paid more and had less hours, we would have the time and the luxury afforded to us to be able to pursue those things. Because like that's why I mentioned earlier, like how I want to get a passport and go on this pilgrimage, you know, because like I feel like this is just my personal thing. I mean, atheists might feel a different way, and that's completely fine. But I feel like that there's something within us that like says like you should at least once in your life like go do something that fulfills a part of you that you cannot explain, you know. And that's like that innate part of you that like it's just kind of just makes everything make sense, if that makes sense, you know. And
that makes perfect sense.
And if you don't fulfill that, you kind of feel like less of a person. And the fact is, people can't access that. At least not as much as they are by birthright entitled to. You know, because, well, bills.
Yeah, because I was gonna say earlier that the way human society is developed in the past is radically different to the way we develop now, because just the amount of work that we do, the amount of work that we put in, like the 40-hour work week, the minimum 40-hour work week is like incompatible with the human brain in many ways. Like even that is already too much for our minds to like be stuck on one thing, one monotonous task day in, day out. And that's I think that is what is the core of like the anti-work movement, and why that movement needs to become a lot more sophisticated in order to overcome. The science is on our side.
Dude, it's just a matter of addressing our vices and the free time we have to make that more palatable on a broader scale, you know.
What do you mean?
The whole concept of perpetuating society is that we have to have wealth and some type of material gain to have it advance, you know. Am I wrong on that on any level?
Sounds about right.
That's Beer Bash. A guy in my chat, Ace Fire, he really loves your hair. He wants your hair. So I don't know if you want to set up like an eBay trade, like sell like a lock of your hair. I don't know. What do you think? What's it worth to you, Ace? I might be able to persuade him to part with like a couple locks. What's it worth to you? But yeah, sorry, Nomad. I'm trying to engage, do the streamer thing, you know.
No, you're good.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I like when it comes to like human spirituality, a lot of that is being like suppressed and manipulated, and I hate that Christianity is the vehicle that is being used for the manipulation. Because like I think Christianity is like so incompatible with capitalism that that the fact that they were able to use that as their vehicle to like suppress and sedate so many, especially white people, it's just it's incredibly like discombobulating and like confusing to my mind.
Render unto Caesar is inherently a subjugational type of thing, you know. It's like saying, okay, you work, and then a certain portion of what you make goes to the state, in a way, to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the maintenance of a state requires like the participation of all its members. So I think render unto Caesar just means like, you know, participate in like the society, pay your taxes. Like,
contribute to the collective.
I don't think that necessarily has to be a pro-subjugation reading. I understand why you would get that reading.
Yeah, and it could lead to that.
Yeah, under the wrong circumstances, you could definitely
if we're talking
get that
about
reading.
The perpetuation of a colonist type of society, then that's the rendering of that type of scripture that they would use on anyone that they subjugate to, in a way. I can't see any other interpretation of it, you know?
Well, I mean, like I said, you have the more collectivist kind of reading where it's literally just means pay your taxes. That's literally all it means. That anything beyond that is just interpretation. That's the literal what the text literally says.
Yeah, okay, I'm just fucking with you.
I feel it.
I love how everyone is vibe. Yeah, just styles. Oh, the fifth. Yeah. Oh, your camera is on. Oh shit. Hold on. Let me. I haven't been looking into the Discord because when I actually open up the Discord tab, it freezes everyone's camera. So in order to keep everybody's camera actually functioning, I've had to not go into Discord. So I didn't know he opened up his camera. Hold
weird.
On. Let me. I will fix that momentarily. They see how everybody's frozen right now. So give me a second. You guys can keep talking. I'm just gonna get Nomads
on my end at least.
I just have the one. I just have the one monitor. So everything has to go through just this.
Well, fucking. I was making fun of Lindsey Graham earlier. That was fun.
Ooh.
Lindsey Graham is a bag. We should go to www.sendpubes.com some bags of pubes to Lindsey Graham's office.
Oh my god, dude! His fucking he did this whole grandstand thing at Ketanji Brown Jackson's fucking confirmation, and it was so
because he's cringe.
He's so cringe, dude. It's just, well, if you ask me, I think the way that you guys did Judge Kavanaugh on his last day, if we had some incriminating evidence and we brought it to you on the last hour of the last day of your confirmation hearings, would you guys appreciate it? It's not a very good Lindsey Graham impression, but it's pretty close.
Actually not bad. It's actually not bad.
That guy is such a great. I remember that one time he was like, "How?" I think it was during Brett Kavanaugh's hearing. He was like, "How dare you?" Soy.
I am not soying at even the slightest amount right now. I just, I live in a state that I like to put down. Huh?
That's why I couldn't be a congressman, because if somebody was doing that, I would end up getting censured or kicked out or something, because I'd sit there and be like, "Soy."
Oh dear.
Yeah, man. Actually, you know what? That does bring up an interesting question. Because I have not made it a secret at all that I legit would run for president. I don't give a fuck whatsoever. I will absolutely do it. I'll give my State of the Union address, be like, listen, shit's fucked up, and we're gonna unfuck it, okay? But has anyone on this panel right now ever? Well, I don't know about EndlessCemetary's chair, but. Has anyone ever thought, even just a fleeting thought, about going into politics?
I've thought about it, and I am not super interested in doing that.
I don't know. It seems to turn people evil. It seems to turn people evil.
Well, except for me, I've tossed many salads in my time since I have been in office, okay? I have tongue-punched many a fart box. Many asses I have eaten. I have made assholes into my dinner, even in front of my fellow progressive colleagues. We've all had orgies.
Where does Bernie keep coming from?
He keeps coming. He keeps coming from Lindsey Graham's mother. Jesus, man. I would love to hear Bernie Sanders just be like,
voice. It's a bit more pungent, okay? You're not getting it as well as I am right now. I'm calling on you, Greyecraft, to not use my voice.
I am calling on you to not try and toss my salad. Could you imagine me, Donald J. Trump, getting my asshole eaten on camera?
What do you think the United States is going to have a president who's straight up into cannibalism? It's probably it's doomed to happen at some point.
Dude, somebody brought up.
Everybody's on screen now.
Somebody brought up not too long ago, like about consensual cannibalism.
Oh God, was that me?
I don't. Was that you?
I've jokingly brought it up
If
before.
it's two consensual human beings that want to engage in that, why not?
It's cannibalism. I don't know.
Anyways.
Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to involve the taking of their lives. What if they just wanted to cut their arm, get a tourniquet to stop loss of blood? What's stopping them, you know?
Yeah, but
This archive super villain.
Do you guys know who Army Hammer is?
nah.
Yeah, he's the Lone Ranger.
Yeah, he played the Lone Ranger. Did you hear about how he's like into eating people?
Oh my God, he's a White Glove member. Oh fuck no.
Okay,
What?
so I remember I found these like stories about him. I found these stories about him. Well, here's the thing: is he was like kind of trying to coerce people into letting him do it. Like his girlfriend broke up with him and went out and said like,
exchange of limbs.
I can't tell if Nomad. Are you actually pro cannibalism?
No, I'm just saying if two people want to do it, I
guess maybe if two people want to eat like. I don't really know if it's not really.
Okay,
it's
we're not really
what
getting the
fuck
human
ever,
meat.
No.
Are they eating each other? Yes, that was a
invest in society wanting to do it, and they consent, and it's recognized by the state.
Why is this happening?
I'm not. No, we talked about this up. I'm just saying.
I think Gray brought it up.
What the fuck is that? Don't bring it up 2 weeks ago.
Gray is sort of like soft pushing this conversation onto us all, and he's like, "Well, let's see."
It's for the content. I don't know what you want me to do.
All right, let's dive into the content. Cannibalism.
Oh fuck.
Pog.
It's not.
But anyways, I gotta finish like talking about the Army Hammer thing.
Yeah, the Army Hammer guy.
That I found very like weird when I read about it. It was like his girlfriend like broke up with him, and she said that he kind of just like got her into like his bondage fetishes without like really letting her know properly how deep he was into like edge play and shit.
That's bad
and
form.
He would often just like chomp on her arms and shit, and then he would be like, if I didn't like tell you to stop, or if you didn't tell me to stop, I would totally just like bite pieces of flesh out of you. And then he also like repeatedly told this girl to go see this doctor to have him remove one of her ribs so that she could like watch him barbecue it.
So there's this show that
like,
I wanted to
very much like pressuring her into doing it.
I stan kinks. I stan kinksters. I am a kinkster myself, and I want more kink representation. Not that though.
That's not kink. Yeah, that's just like.
Not that though.
That's not kink. That's called a crime, and I'm cool with leaving it that way. Dude, listen,
Yes, Endless, please.
His chair is no longer alone. Dude,
tell us more about like your trip to McDonald's. I need to know. Like, did you encounter?
Is it made of people? Dude, no, actually, wait, no. This is actually a great segue. So there was a video I saw. It was like some kind of like It wasn't Master
100%
Chef,
Crackle.
but it was like a Master Chef like copy or spin-off or whatever the fuck.
Fuck.
And
I
it
know
was
where this is going.
it was this guy that have you seen it? It's
I don't know, but I don't. Based on the context,
It's this guy. He gets on there. He sounds kind of like European or something. I don't know where exactly he's from, but it's someone like this. You know, it's a weird accent. Anyways, so he's on there, and they have this like guessing game segment or whatever, where it's like his food is made with one of 3 different meats. And it's either, I forget what one of them was, but it was like something shark meat or human flesh. And it was like, you see the host like look over at the camera crew and shit, like, are we covered legally? Like, is this legal? Is this?
Cannibalism is legal, there's no loss.
You hear the crew in the background going, no, don't worry about it, we got this covered, it's fine. It's like, okay, well, hopefully it's not human flesh. But we've got these 3 choices here. Which ones do you think they are? And we got these 2 female judges right there, and they're like, well, I hope it's not human flesh.
Welcome back. We're talking about eating human flesh.
Yeah. And it's
delicious.
And the chicks up there are like, I hope it's not human flesh, but I'm gonna take a guess and say shark meat. That's probably what it is. And
I'm gonna change my category to just chatting because we're just kind of chatting.
And then,
stuff now.
Yeah, but then like,
I don't want Twitch poll viewers to come in here like seeing a politics tag and just be like,
yeah,
oh, let's start a giant cannibalism.
Yeah.
But
it's cannibalism left wing or right wing?
It actually turns out that it was human flesh. He actually put human flesh into. Yes, that's what he did. And you see these chicks that are like the judges on the show, like one of them gets up and they're like, all right, I'm going to go fucking puke now. And the other one's just sitting there like dumbfounded, like, what the fuck? Did this guy seriously just sneak human flesh into my fucking meal from this show? I don't know what happened afterwards, but I would rightfully hope and think that dude probably went to fucking jail. Like, you can't.
It's kind of like in Kenny versus Spenny when Kenny,
as a matter of fact,
like threw a vial of semen all over fucking Spenny. That like he literally filled by like not just jerking off into it himself, but like literally picking up used condoms on the fucking street and like dumping them into this fucking beaker. It was the contest to see who could produce more semen. That was one of the ones that I watched on my own because I knew this is a fucking episode that like cannot be watched on Twitch. I can just tell by the title.
Oh no, the tweet has disappeared.
Episodes that are, I've watched a few of the episodes that, since it's all on Kenny Hotz's YouTube, I've watched some of the episodes of that show that aren't as risque on fucking Twitch with my audience, and it's still like pretty edgy for Twitch. It's way more sketchy to watch on Twitch than fucking like Kitchen Nightmares is. But
okay, Nomad. I want to pick your brain on something. Have you ever heard of amputation fetish?
I can kind of gather that
thanks for horrifying Endless.
I love Endless's face. Yeah, I have exactly 2 friends who are into amputation fetish. And do you think that would like combo with cannibalism well, or yes or no?
You have friends.
Would that be the situation?
After you cut the arm off, you gotta do something with it, right?
I'm going to address this as a completely legitimate question. It depends on how.
I mean, I'm asking as a legitimate question.
No, I am. It depends on how far they're willing to go in that type of covenant. You know, if the person, the sub, is willing to engage cutting off their limb for it, I don't know. It's entirely up to them. Obviously,
oh my god!
I don't know. Like,
guys,
you guys are looking as if this is some foreign thing. This is a fetish that exists in the human condition. I mean,
guys, I think I found it.
People with it.
You can fetish shame them all you want, but it's something that exists.
No, I'm not shaming anybody.
A minority of a degree the people that we live with.
Oh my god.
No, I'm not shaming them. Like I said, they're my friends. I count them as my friends.
You have to. That's. I don't know. I would say yeah, if it's entirely consensual. Why not?
Yo.
Look at the food.
Is that the nasty burger plate?
Enough talking about eating people and amputation fetishes.
Well, I'm eating
Let's
pizza.
Look at this food that I sent to the fucking Discord that Greyecraft.
Is that the garbage plate?
Yeah, dude.
Again,
It actually looks really fucking good.
Far off now, right now.
And like right below that, it's there's accidental cannibalism. I found it. Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yes. Dude, if you want to fucking watch it, I'm gonna watch it on my channel probably at some point tonight too. Like probably just not like right now, but like no, it's like fish liver, shark meat, or human flesh, and it turns out it's human flesh. Like it's.
How the fuck did they get their hands on human flesh?
How the fuck do you think?
They got the mob to kill somebody for them?
Nah, straight
I'm
up
willing to bet it was
Borderlands
someone
vibes. My podcast co-host, my housemate, was telling me a story the other day about how he went on tour with his band and they fucking got caught up by like border patrol and shit, and they got arrested, or they got arrested. One of their homies got locked up, so they had to stay in this motel. And there's this like trailer nearby with these people that were like fucking, you know, covered in tattoos, completely methed out, the works. And he said that they started telling him this story about how they fucking like to catch undocumented immigrants coming across the border, making the trek, fucking kill them and grind them up into ground meat. And they're eating like, what the fuck? What the fuck are they capping about? And he said he opened up the freezer and just saw a bunch of unmarked like Ziploc bags full of what looked like ground beef. He was like, nah, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
What, it was people?
Shit.
I guess.
I believe it. I have no reason not to believe it. The atrocities that go on.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like when Egyptians were first being found, like their bones were being ground up and
Oh
sold to
yeah, they
Europeans.
were eating mummies. They were
Yeah.
eating mummies.
Not to believe it. No
Eating
reason not.
mummies?
Oh, you never heard of that? Oh, dude.
No!
Yeah, that's old. That's like 1800s, like when
Or are they
Europeans
trying to
started,
get their
like,
secret power? What the
I
fuck?
guess there was they like put them in paint with like grandma. There was a color called mummy brown, and Egypt straight had to be like, yo, this is our shit. You can't just be taking it, eating it, and putting it in paint like this.
Yeah, European like history is a lot more fucked up than we give it credit for.
Oh my fuck.
Especially when it comes to
Chat is
non-white
asking
people.
me, what is this panel? My chat is asking me, what the fuck is this panel? And I don't know.
This is the whatever goes panel.
We were just trying to entertain. We were just trying to entertain Endless Cemetary's chair while he was gone, and fucking here we are with fucking cannibalism. Oh my god. There was something else too, and like I actually asked one of my coworkers about this, where like, I forget who brought it up, but it was like if like a robot, right?
Oh, this one.
Yeah. If a robot is programmed to be like the perfect girlfriend or boyfriend, and they're programmed to be able to have sex and like orgasm and all that. We're talking like a whole like uncanny valley right there, fucking at the cusp of humanness. If they're programmed to consent to sex, are they consenting?
No,
Word.
Yeah,
but it's a machine, so it doesn't matter.
Now, I brought this up with a coworker. I brought this up with a coworker, and basically, like, she was like, well, I mean, it'd be kind of like fucking a vibrator either way, right? It'd be like, or like a fleshlight for you. So, like, I mean, I guess it really wouldn't matter. And I was like, yeah, but what if it's like really developed AI? You know what I mean? That like self-develops.
I want to fuck that. What if it just like suddenly has something go on where it gets really mad and like rips your balls off?
Well,
Nomad, if you want to talk, you just gotta talk.
Y'all fuck with Berserk?
Everybody's just kind of just saying their piece. You just gotta speak your piece.
Y'all don't fuck with Berserk?
I'm actually going to be reading that like in a little while.
What?
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, dude, that was so fucking cool.
By being programmed, it has input and information that's beyond its. Again, it has no will. It has no concept of agency. It's not self-deterministic like a human being. So on that level, I would say no. But depending on the information we're feeding it, let's face it, the machine mind is far more. It has far more space, and it'll adapt much faster than us. I mean, I guess it would just be up to a point of like attaining information and the human idea of consent and that sort of thing. However far that would extend to the ability of having sex with it, I don't know, but I mean, if it had that awareness, I don't know. I'm just posing that
There's people in my chat begging you to unban them, Beer Bash.
What?
Again, like machine learning is so like once it's gonna be so far beyond us. I don't think
The first dude was what was that dude's name? Death Priest, and then this dude is Glaze.
Oh shit, Death Priest? I haven't seen that guy in fucking ages. Did I ban him? I don't remember.
I have no idea who they are, and I don't really care.
Are they sex robots by chance?
I actually recognize
Glazy,
that
are you
name.
a sex robot? Because if you're not a sex robot, then I'll know what to tell you.
Sex robots.
Death Priest, what do you think, man?
Imagine if like Elon Musk would was like the person who owned the company that owned the fucking Android bots, and he like said the signal get them to like rip your cock off.
You guys are kind of treating this as a meme, but this is something that's going to happen.
No, legit, it's going to.
Yeah, it is going to. That's why I treat it like a meme.
You don't see this polarization in human relations that's happening, and this is a palpable thing. This is going it's only going to get worse as technology expands.
So,
this divide in human relations, this is a thing that's going to happen in our lifetime.
So 2 points that come to mind. First off, the meme. If Elon Musk is the one to like make a line of sex androids,
Exactly.
you know that one of them is gonna be Grimes. Number one. Number two. Number two. On a serious note, I mean, yeah. I mean, there was some statistic. Damn, look at you with the munchies.
The wrong Takis. I had to hit the corner store.
There's
I got nuts. Beat this.
Someone in my chat just said that the company that makes real dolls used to scout for people at their old school.
Wait,
I got
what?
it.
Wait, say that again, Beer Bash? I missed that.
The person in one of my chatters just said, Real Dolls Company used to scout for people at my old school.
Whoa.
No reason not to believe it, man.
I mean,
I got one good chat too. Like Wanda, like Vision being her machine lover. So like yeah, we're already moving in that direction.
yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
This is dope conversation. I've had an amazing time, but I'm gonna hop in with Bink and Fluff, I think. So y'all have a good night. I love y'all.
Yeah, thanks for
Absolutely.
stopping by, man.
Come back again, bro.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
And
Good one,
Frackle.
Thanks
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely, man.
Here, homie.
Yeah, we got to do this again soon.
Absolutely, anytime,
Yeah,
man.
bro.
I need to start streaming again regularly. I need to get like a schedule back up.
Yeah.
Alright,
I
let
want to
me.
jump into Darius' stream, but I'm having fun here, so.
I just know, wasn't there some kind of statistic or something that like more and more as time goes on, like they're like basically guys are virgins, like there's there's a huge increase in
and there's like Zoomers. There's it's a huge. I've read this statistic. I'm a little buzzed right now, but I know what you're talking about, and it's millions of men in the United States.
Yeah. Which, like,
Yeah.
that's a lot of people. That's a lot.
Oh, it is.
Now,
It's
now,
worrying.
don't get me wrong. Like, but the majority of them are probably like the incel types that wouldn't mind like committing to Columbine. But like,
I wouldn't
take
go
care,
that
Freckle.
far.
Have a good day,
No,
man.
I wouldn't even go that far. It's just, it's a combination of things, of lack of social awareness of how to talk to women and that sort of
right,
thing.
which
Lack
like
of
really comes down to the
self-esteem.
parents. You know, like, I mean, let's be real. Like, I know, like kind of like I was talking about earlier before the interview. I never got the talk. You know, I can only imagine how many other kids didn't get the talk. You know, or other things like that. You know, fuck, dude.
I mean, I don't know if, like, I don't know on the macro level of just like specifically as us being men, like, I don't know if there's any way to address this, like, I mean, without addressing like consent and like female agency, you know.
Right.
I mean,
That's the problem. We don't address that.
Yeah. And I was.
and even if you did, why would you want to do that if you could just go to a machine?
I mean, well,
Because human interaction is still going to happen.
right.
Like machine or
Yeah,
no
but, I
machine.
mean, as time goes on, it's going to be diminished. I mean, like, why,
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
No,
like,
I disagree. Like, why would you want to deal with a woman if you could go to a machine? That, like,
well, that's probably what a lot of people would think. But like,
I'm
but at the same time,
Blade Runner 2071, where you could have one that's
well,
programmed to know you as a human being. Like, maybe I'm thinking too far into the future. But
well,
like,
by the time 2071 comes around, like, we're probably gonna be like half cyborgs, fucking anyways, you know. So, you know, at that point, like, we're all pretty much sex robots, you know. Which, like, hey, I'm down. Yeah, no, I think really what it boils down to, from my perspective, is that what we need to do is make sure that we raise our kids, those of us that want kids. Honestly, millennials and Gen Z should probably, we probably should not have that many kids. I'm not saying that we should like illegalize it or anything like that, but we should probably not birth that many kids. There's a lot. We got 8 billion people on the planet, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, overpopulation is a myth that you don't need to worry about.
No, I'm not talking.
Real problem.
I'm not talking about overpopulation. I'm just
Okay.
I'm just saying, for fuck's sake, like, let's just
With
put a pause on it.
Yeah, I don't
there
believe
are
in
other
like
reasons.
overpopulation mess.
There are other reasons not to have children.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't really think it's like, since we are like the entire planet is trapped in this system that like dooms so many people to like horrible lives. Like, I feel like it's almost just kind of like
why?
it's like we don't need to like be creating more people to just have to like suffer under this horrible shit
And
before
to
we
enrich the
can worry
lives
about
of
that about after we like fix how fucked up we are.
Yeah.
enrich the lives of these people that own these companies at the expense of human labor, when we receive so little in terms for the finite hours that we live as cognizant human beings. That's the part that bothers me. And like, my partner wants a child, but that's not something like I want to do. It's like, I'm facing, like, I don't care if I live or die in my personal life. And like, why would I want to subject that to another sentient human being to
Well,
live?
and that's funny that you bring that up. Like, I actually kind of thought just now, something kind of turned on in my head. First off, nobody, not one human being, can recall before human life began for them signing a contract or something saying, yeah, I'm cool with being alive. None of us signed up to be here.
Yeah,
you know?
no one asked to be born. Yeah.
So, but now we're here, we got to deal with it. And we have a fuckload of like problems. We have a huge mess we got to clean up. Now here's where the other thought comes in and what kind of stems from that. wouldn't that kind of be the perfect protest? Think about it. If we were like, listen, capitalism is a problem, climate change is a problem, war is a problem, the fact that our healthcare system is so fucked is a problem. We have all these problems. If you don't fix
We're
it,
just going to not have sex anymore.
if you don't fix it, we are no longer going to procreate. Your fault.
What do you think of the voluntary human extinction movement?
I think it's cringe.
No. I don't know what that is,
Remember,
but the
long
name
aspects
alone
of
is just sets me against
I
it.
don't know on
Two
some
doomer.
aspects of what they believe.
Yeah.
I get where they're coming from, but I don't know as a whole political aims. No, I don't know.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. I kind of
for
understand
humanity
why
existing.
people.
I'll
I
be
can
the first
understand
person to
why
say-
people are that doomer, but I don't think I can be that committed
Oh, I
to
being
being
like-
a doomer.
Right.
That's like
How are
the
we
peak
ever
form
gonna
of being a fucking
form
doomer.
Anything like I just like under capitalism, it's produce and subjugate anyone that's not rich until you die. I don't see how you reform that. I mean, like socialists and anyone far left is such an extreme minority that I just don't see any way forward in a way, you know?
There are ways there are still windows to like progress
So minute.
our agenda. Yeah, the windows are closing, but they still exist currently.
Right.
It's just a matter of, can the environment hold out long enough, or can we like organize ourselves fast enough? Those are the limits on whether or not we can change anything. To me, in my mind, I don't know how you guys view it, but that's kind of where my perspective comes down. It's just a matter of like, will we be able to like organize a proper general strike and withhold our labor to like crash the system, or are we just gonna like die to nuclear holocaust
You're
or
so
a heat wave?
dependent on that system, especially with the climate we're seeing now and the the inflation that just never seems to end. I don't know if I see anywhere forward with that. We have to work to live. And it's a chain around our fucking necks in a way.
Yeah,
And like
we're on a
I
leash.
can't seem to escape that. And that's the type of hamster wheel that I can view my own existence as in a way. And this is obviously the case for millions of other people. I'm not unique. I participate in the society as anyone else, but you know.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
When my,
that's. Oh, sorry. Go.
Yeah, that's totally understandable. One of my mods and also a based streamer, Boy Meets Mini, said, now I know why it's called a Posada bot. Mod on Twitch for long enough and Posadism becomes like a real option.
What is
Posadism?
that?
Many
What is
humans don't know what
Posadism?
Posadism is. It's like the followers of this he was from Argentina, this dude who went by the pseudonym Jose Posadas or like Jorge Posadas or something like that.
Yeah.
And he like started this the fourth international Posadas, that's right. Jay Posadas was his pseudonym, or sometimes Juan Posadas.
What is
He was this
preach?
like Trotskyite, and he was like a Trotskyite, and then his personal ideas were described as Posadism, and it was kind of like this weird whole thing that was basically like, oh, it was strange, like kind of like just thinking that like, so like some part of it was like introducing elements of like ufology and shit into Marxism, and it argues that like Posadas like argued that only like communism can allow the development of interplanetary travel, that they concluded that visiting aliens from other planets must live in highly advanced communist societies and are bound to help Earth-based communists, bringing about a world revolution. And I think they also believe that like the world, like I think their belief is like the best chance at building communism or something is basically to their best chance at building communism or something is just trying to like is just being like yeah. So at their at the 4th International Posadas founding conference in 1962, they proclaimed the atomic war is inevitable. It'll destroy half of humanity. It's going to destroy immense human riches. It is very possible. The atomic war is going to provoke a true inferno on Earth, but it will not impede communism.
Hey.
We are preparing ourselves for it. They were basically just like, fuck it. Nuclear. It was like ultimate doomer communism.
I was gonna say, so they're preppers. That's very interesting intersection.
The grain of truth to what he's saying is that what as human beings are, we're a communal type of species. We will not perpetuate ourselves as long as we were not. But like in terms of like the end game of what we'll become as like a species, I don't know. Like I can see us being some type of hive mind orbiting a star, but like communicating with some type of extraterrestrial like beings, no. I don't know.
I do think though that like, because like if you I wasn't much of a Star Trek fan, but I remember seeing some scenes that kind of alluded to their federation or whatever basically being communist. Like there was some time travel scene or some shit where you have I think maybe Picard explaining that they're moneyless and classless now, you know, and
that's eventually going to happen. I mean, like this could be thousands or millions of years into the future.
And I do think about it, like people would probably dedicate themselves more so not only to the arts but to the sciences if like they were afforded to under more socialistic or communistic systems.
I mean, Peter Kropotkin wrote about this like in the middle of the Industrial Revolution. Like it's not a new idea that like communism would lead to an explosion in the arts. That is one of the founding principles of communism.
There's no other reason to live other than expression of we are as a creative beings. I don't think there's. I mean, like we don't exist to perpetuate money or to just boost industry. I mean, again, we were making cave paintings thousands of years before the wheel was invented.
Right, let alone language.
Yeah, language was one of the byproducts of our free time to endeavor in the arts.
Yeah,
language is one of the things that we did because we weren't like constantly working and like all this shit wasn't around our necks all the time. So absolutely,
yeah. But which is why I kind of. Well, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I do love the transition from ancient aliens to future aliens mixed in with like the prepper shit. That's good.
I'm talking about what will be at like. I mean, we're not going to be as we are corporeal human beings. I feel like we're going to be some hive mind orbiting a star.
I hope not.
Well, I mean, I
don't want to be a hive mind.
You look at the Kardashev scale, you know, like right now we're at a 0.75, I think, or some shit on the Kardashev scale. And
you look at who we are as we're ingrained to be human beings, and for the longest time in my development, I was so antisocial, but like that's just how we're ingrained and how we're interacting. To seeking communities, it's inescapable. That's just that's ingrained into us. I mean, and I tried the hardest to escape that, but there's no escaping it. It's just how it is, how we communicate, and how we develop bonds. I don't know.
That's interesting. I think there is a difference though between developing a community and like becoming one like sentient spread across multiple bodies. There's a dividing line in there somewhere that
you can have that and then foster all these communities within it, so long as you provided any type of the necessities and whatever types of to expand beyond that. I don't know.
I mean, what you're suggesting is kind of like a eusocial structure, like what ants have, where like different parts of the colony have different.
Necessarily like beyond our capacity as technology expands well beyond, like, I don't know. I'm thinking too.
No, yeah, you were like
beyond.
Yeah, you're going full galaxy brain like stoner like. These are
Well,
the thoughts, man.
Well, no, I mean, like, these types of thoughts, you know, they do hold some value, at least at the very least right now, as we currently are on a philosophical level. And philosophy does drive pretty much, if not all, most of what we do ultimately. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I'll say this, like, you know, going back to the Kardashev scale, you know, like,
What is that?
So there's this there. Oh fuck, Jesus. You okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Something just fell.
Well, basically, this guy named something Kardashev, I forget his full name, came up with this scale, basically, of human or well, not just human, but civilization anywhere in general. And basically, right now we are at a 0.75. A Type 1 civilization has full control over the resources of that species' home planet. So probably like the perfection of solar energy, renewable energy, and whatnot would probably get us there.
That Dyson sphere, that's what we need.
Well, that's funny. You mentioned that. That's pretty much where the idea comes from, because you got a Type 2, which is within the solar system, and that may or may not include a Dyson sphere. But that's definitely, at least that's definitely when you reach.
A Dyson sphere would be gnar.
Type 3.
Have you ever played fucking Dyson sphere program?
I play Stellaris. That has a Dyson sphere in it. That's about it.
Dyson sphere program is kind of like Factorio.
Okay.
There are games that
That's
like
not
look
my kind of
cool,
game,
that are,
unfortunately.
that are like cool, but also like really absurdly like, oh Jesus Christ, this is like a serious like brain fuck trying to organize all your like belts of your massive networks of conveyor belts just funneling shit to all these different facilities to just automate absolutely everything.
Yeah, I can't do that. That's not
Dyson
me.
sphere program, you do it on this like round 3D planet as opposed to Factoria's 2D map, which is still based.
Right.
Factorio is still a really sick game.
It's kind of why I love playing
multiplayer. They're just different. They're very similar, but also different. The Dyson sphere program, the point is to like be able to get off the planet you start on. That you like. So we're playing as this dude who gets like. Apparently, it's like everybody lives in the Matrix now, apparently, and you get like pulled out of the Matrix and have to go like go out to like try to create more power for the fucking computers running the Matrix that everybody lives in. Because in order to do so, you basically you start on a planet. You have to like turn that planet basically into a giant fucking factory to then be able to go to the other planets in that like solar system. And just like strip these planets bare and turn them into giant fucking like fully automated factories and build a Dyson sphere around the fucking star to power your factory.
Odd premise in a way, like you would strip someone that had been programmed in the Matrix or whatever type of AI programming the human mind was in, they wouldn't necessarily be aware of any type of modus beyond what they had been shown beyond. They would either die or go insane. I mean, it seems like, I don't know, it's just my thoughts.
I'm actually writing a story about that. It's not like a Matrix type thing where it's like reality isn't real, but just more focusing on the eldritch horror of like something beyond us, like looking down on us. It's obviously going to be an allegory for capitalism, naturally. But,
I think you believe in God. I think that's what you believe in, don't you?
What?
I think you believe in God, don't you?
Yeah.
See, that's what I mean.
Yeah. No, this is more like eldritch horror kind of thing. Like,
I mean, like with regards to your belief as a Christian, like eldritch horrors and Lovecraft, like how do you reconcile that? Like, if you're having a thought experiment on what you're writing, like, how does the god that you exclusively believe in tie into like the beings that Lovecraft conceived as you write?
It doesn't really tie in. It's just a fun idea.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, no. It's for me. They serve literary functions in like a more materialist understanding. Like these are things that are more powerful and don't value human lives. I see this through a lens of like Lovecraft as a writer, as a person, is not somebody that I value highly. I value his cosmicism and how we can like attach meaning to it through today's society. Like that's how I analyze fear. Like I analyze fear through like societal responses to things, like so as like science, like societal coping mechanisms for different phenomenon that we can't like fully come to terms with or accept. It's not really there's no like religious like identity crisis for me.
Wait, what did I just walk into? What?
Oh no, he was asking about how I square the circle between like
Doesn't your
Lovecraft's
god
like conception of
some type of eldritch horror as to what you can't know as a human being in a way?
Oh, cosmic horror. Gotcha. Yeah.
And like
how
how
fear
like,
of the
my
unknown.
conception of God, like like how my conception of God
I
like ties to that.
understand
Yeah, no, it doesn't at all. I don't look at it through that lens at all.
We don't need to get into that conversation.
I mean, I don't mind.
I know. I personally believe that there is an invisible butthole above my head. And
God.
no one can see this invisible butthole except for me. And if I'm not nice and kind and compassionate, I will get sucked up into the invisible anus and shit piranhas will eat me inside out.
So the curse of being a human being is that we're the only beings that can conceive of that invisible butthole. And I blame you.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. That's good.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, dude, like, this is gonna sound a little bit fucking weird, but I think that...
No, please, don't stop.
Don't stop, don't,
Oh, God.
I think that there's a giant
You said
waifu in
that
space.
when you wear that suit and you have some type of authority here, and I just want to rub my nipples really hard.
Fucking absolutely. Fucking go for it, man. Absolutely. Well, Twitch TOS. Yeah. Just don't show your nipples.
I mean, if you're a man, you can. If you're a girl,
Which is so fucked up. Anyways.
We're not going to jump that route.
I think okay, so I think that it's probably very possible that, first of all, whatever God exists, it's beyond any and all religious or perceptual or opinion fucking perception of reality. Like it's so incomprehensible that like there's no like what we have right now as far as like quote unquote God goes, no matter how what that word means to you, it's just a placeholder. You know what I mean? Because the real thing is probably just like what the fuck. I think to some extent it's probably possible that that there is some kind of maybe spiritual as well as mental as well as emotional as well as physical maybe evidence somewhere in the universe that this whatever the fuck it is exists.
Yeah, it's called DMT.
okay,
yeah.
Joe Rogan.
It's that
Thank you.
well, I mean, psychedelics are kind of a gateway, you know. I know for me, you know, like I wouldn't be sober today without LSD. Like I vividly fucking remember the first time I tripped on acid, and basically I saw this huge geometric whatever the fuck Titan, and I felt it was so weird, dude. I'll never forget it. I just felt like these tidal waves of love. That's the best way I could describe it. And like it was like a choir of voices echoing throughout my skull saying, "You're fucking up your life. You need to go back to AA. What the fuck are you doing?" And
you need to ask Gray about his like cosmic like horror and God. I think he would provide a better conversation.
Yours, I feel like mine would either be what you have experienced or would be the total inverse. Like, I don't know if there's a question of extremes with me. It would have been one or the other.
Because ultimately, I think that honestly,
I don't want to do it. You know?
I think the real God, whatever the fuck it is, the God of all gods, as I like to say, is probably both your Jesus and your Satan simultaneously. I think I think that in the sense in the sense that like you know it encapsulates everything that ever was, is, or will be. You know what I mean? That it is.
I mean, it's literally in the Bible.
All those things, you know. So
it's not in the Bible.
You know, it's like you know.
They're polar opposites, as we've been exposed in Western culture. There's one or the other.
Right. Well, I mean, there's also like, in contrary to like,
Christian too, my friend.
In contrary to like, you know, your Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, there's also Mary Magdalene, Judas, and Doubting Thomas. You know, the lost gospels, if you will, that some Gnostics back in the day interpreted as like, well, Lucifer was actually, you know, meaning light bearer, was a messenger sent here by Sophia, the mother of God, to help free us from the physical prison that is physicality, that is the created world. And in that sense, I guess you could say, if that force, that liberating force embodied a physical form, that could be known as Jesus. Which kind of brings together those two different, those two sides of the same coin. If God is supposed to, if Jesus in the biblical sense is supposed to be this, how should I say it, embodiment of God itself, right? Then it would have to, by definition, include not just A, B, C, or D, but all of the above. Does that make sense?
Well, the thing that you're missing, you're equating Lucifer with God, when that is definitely not the case.
Well, I mean,
they're
at least
not equals.
Well, what I'm saying here is that like they perceived Lucifer and Satan as two different entities.
Who?
The Gnostics. It was the other arm that branched off of the original Christian origin. They kind of got stamped out by the Roman Catholic Empire at some point, and they got lost for fucking centuries. But some lost gospels were discovered in Nag Hammadi, Egypt, and that's how this, you know, knowledge was made available. But this is like very recent, like a century ago.
I'd actually have to look at that.
It's very interesting stuff. If nothing else, as like mental masturbation, you know, like it's just interesting shit to learn about. You know, the way that people looked at things. They basically thought that Lucifer and Satan were not the same thing. That, you know, Lucifer was an angel sent from outside of creation to free us from the false creator God that thought, you know, everything was made by him, when actually it was kind of a homunculus. It's you'd have to look into it for more further details. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's I can't really do it justice, but
that's okay. I'll look into it.
Are you clipping your nails there, Bash?
No, I was playing around with my keef tray.
You know what? You mentioned DMT. Have you ever done it?
Yes.
What's it like? I've never done it.
It's fucking interesting.
Would you care to disclose any of your experiences?
It kind of helps to just like realize that time isn't real. Like, it was weird. It was just like, basically my friends had just like DMT, and they took like tiny little dabs of dab and rolled it around in a bunch of DMT because that was more effective than smoking it. And I just like took a dab of it, and I just held it in and laid back on a pillow, and then finally blew it out.
No, I don't get why any of these revelations about material things and all of them being just, they're passing things, have to be achieved under being intoxicated. Like, why can't
they don't?
No, I don't think time is real. I'm straight edge.
And that fundamentally just, it irritates me, and I don't know why.
Oh, I hate when people are really, really pretentious about like, dude, I like dropped some fucking, I like did DMT at like a music festival once, and now I'm like I'm like
a youth pastor.
Yeah, you're like a shaman or some shit.
There are people that struggle just with wanting to live, just wanting to have some like understanding of reality as to why life exists.
Well,
we experience it, and there's no answers to that. And
well, it's funny that you say that, because like there are some sects of Buddhism that look at drug use or use of psychedelics as like kind of like a cheat code in the game of gaining enlightenment, you know, and that basically their look on it is like, you know, no, you need to achieve this authentically and genuinely from the inside out. You know, you need to achieve nirvana as you are, with no like outside interferences, you know, and that would include mind-altering substances.
Questions never disappear, and I mean, like, we can persist for however many thousands of years that human beings or whatever type of our let me say our consciousness. We may not be like physical beings as we are now, but if we advance to a certain technological state, might go beyond that. But like, I mean, the universe will end in like what? Again, I'm getting too far beyond
well, first of all, the universe ain't gonna quote unquote end until like probably 1,000 Googleplex from now. Like we've got a very long fucking time, and humanity's probably going to be long dead before then.
Yeah,
if we're not,
my pay grade.
And if we're not dead before then, we have definitely earned some sort of
probably have evolved into a different species.
Oh yeah, we would be extra dimensional at that point, probably.
Have you guys ever heard of all possible tomorrows?
Let's stop everything what we're saying here. We be as smart as Ben Shapiro is what I'm saying.
One can only hope.
Oh man, right.
You guys ever heard of All Tomorrows?
I've heard of it. It's a video series, right?
Well, as far as I know, it's a book by C.M. Kozman. There's a YouTuber who did a video on it.
I think I know
All Shift X. Yeah, All Shift X did a video on All Tomorrows, and that series, I think you'd like that a lot, Nomad. I'll put a link of it in the Discord.
I think I know what you're talking about. If it talks about the different.
Oh yeah, no, yes. I've seen some of this shit come across my feed. It does look interesting.
I'm putting it in the Discord for you. It's in the temple chat. Nomad. I think you'd appreciate it.
I watched a couple videos about it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
I think that is like on your scale. Like I can't think on that scale personally. I think that you would like that a lot. So
I'll say this, man.
Smaller scale.
Like
I would just
here, if you don't mind my take on what you said earlier, as far as like basically existentialism is what you were alluding to. There's a part that I have included in my About Me section where I say just apotheosis, and that's all it says, right next to optimistic nihilism. And the way that I look at it is that basically our purpose in life is self-deification. I think our purpose in life is basically, and by life, I mean that very loosely. Like, as in, death is another stage of it. Like, it's just never ending. You might have different forms throughout that journey. But at some point, like, you hopefully will have learned everything you need to learn as a physical being. And have gone through all these different experiences all throughout time. I mean, for fuck's sake, you could get hit by a bus tomorrow and die on March 27th, 2022, and then wake up as a baby in 1012. You know what I mean? Like,
oh God, no, please.
Like,
Are you saying you want me to die?
No, I'm not saying I want you to. But what I'm saying is that, you know, I think that there is a spiritual evolution that has to happen. And then at some point, once we have experienced those things, we will, quote unquote, find the truth to life, you know, and then that's when we repeat the process, so to speak. And then there's more physical life that we preside over, and it's just like they're doing the same shit I just did. And it's just a game. It's all about fun, you know? And honestly, like, I think a good attitude to have on this journey towards basically godhood is not so much nothing matters, but nothing matters. You know what I mean? As in, I think one of the biggest pieces to some of our more existential dreads and worries is to not dread it or worry about it. Don't get me wrong. I
like the dread and worry.
It
makes for fun storytelling.
Well, and that's the thing. Don't get me wrong. We are political streamers, and we care about certain causes, and we want life to be better for everyone. We don't want life to be a struggle. Hell fucking no. But at the same time, in the grand scheme of things, I also recognize that at the end of the day, the Milky Way galaxy, all of the stars, the 100 billion stars that we have, are all going to burn out, explode, or become black holes. Humanity's going to die off at some point. And at that point, what the fuck do you have to worry about? You know what I mean? And so really, between now and then, why worry? Just live your best life to the best of your ability, because that's really, I mean, fuck. What if everything I just said about my belief is bullshit? At least I'm living this one life to the best of my ability and trying to do some good and leave this place in a better condition to the way I found it. That's really it. That's really it. I wouldn't worry about it too much, because honestly, Nomad, you remind me of me in a lot of ways. I used to kind of feel the same way, and really, I don't know. There's no methodology or anything behind it. I just happened to run across some events in my life that, you know, afforded me a perspective on everything that, you know, yeah, you know, it's just love and truth. Those are the only things that matter